Okay, chapter 2, 1 through 2 test review. On page 95, that's the page where I want you on first, you will have a part A test over page 95, problems 1 through 8. And you will not have a calculator on this. Part A test is without a calculator. Why am I giving you matching on page 95? Because I want you to be able to do up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect, and be able to match the graph with the standard equation. You with me? I'm giving you the standard form equation. So if we're looking at, let's say, number 2, where f of x is equal to x plus 4 quantity squared, what is happening to that function? It's going to the left 4 units. So what is my vertex? I can't hear you. -4, 0. Is it opening up or opening down? Now, which graph has a vertex of -4, 0 opening up? C. Do we all understand that? Now, I would like you to look at number 5. What's happening to number 5? It's reflected right 2, up 4. So which graph is reflected with a vertex 2, 4? Letter F. Do we understand how to do page 95? Yes. No calculator, you cannot graph it. 1 through 8 is just matching. It's up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect. Page 108. Page 108. We're done with page 95 now, so page 108. Now, this is where the leading coefficient test comes into play, and we talked about this. I said I wanted you guys to make sure that you were using the up, down, left, right, stretch, compress concept, as well as how many zeros it's supposed to have and looking at the highest degree. So if we look at number 5, f of x equals -1/4 x to the 4th plus 3x squared. The degree is 4, so how many times can it cross the x-axis? 4 times. Is it opening up or is it opening down? It's opening down, which means which graph do you think that's going to be? E as an elephant. And the reason why it's E is because it's opening down and it's crossing the x-axis 4 times. Do we all understand that? Okay? How about letter number 6? Number 6 is -1/3 x cubed plus x squared minus 4/3. What degree is it? Degree 3, which means it can cross the axis 3 times. And what is the leading coefficient? -1/4. So if it's negative, that means what's happening to the left side of the equation? It's rising, and the right side is falling. So what graph has a function where it's rising on the left and falling on the right? D. Do we all understand letter D is going to be number 6? That is part A test. So let's keep going with that concept, making sure that you are all with me. And in your head, I need you to answer this. Well, what is -1/3 x cubed plus x squared minus 4/3 going to look like? It's going to be an x cubed function, so it's either going to be positive x cubed or negative x cubed because this is an odd power. My leading coefficient is going to be a negative, so therefore it's going to be negative x cubed. And what does negative x cubed look like? It rises to the right or to the left and falls to the right. So the left-hand behavior is rise, the right-hand behavior is fall. And how many times does it cross the x-axis potentially? 3 times. Do we understand that, yes or no? Okay, next, this right here, -2/5 x to the 4th. Well, what degree am I? It's either going to look like positive x squared or negative x squared. And which one is it going to look like? Looks like I got my highlighter. It's going to look like negative x squared because my leading coefficient is negative. So that means they both are going to fall. Do we understand that? So I have a fall here on the right and a fall on the left. Do we understand that? And how many times is it going to cross the x-axis? Why 4? Because that's the 4th degree. Do we all understand part A test? You will not have a graphing calculator. Do we all understand that? Okay, part B test. You are now allowed a graphing calculator. Now let's read the instructions. Find the standard form. What's standard form? Y equals a parenthesis x minus h squared plus k. That is standard form. Of the quadratic, find the vertex and the x-intercepts by completing the square or factoring. What did I just say out there? Or factoring. So what should you do every problem? Check to see if you can factor it, because that's a whole heck of a lot easier than completing the square, right? So can I factor this right here? So I have 0 is equal to x squared minus 12x plus 36. 0 is equal to x and x, 6 and 6, minus and minus. So what is my standard form? X minus 6 quantity squared is my standard form. So if that's my standard form, what is going to be my vertex? My vertex is going to be 6, 0. I see a lot of people dazing off into space and not writing down the problem that I'm currently doing. And I will tell you now that this is review for the test tomorrow. I encourage you strongly to take the same notes that I'm giving you in class and not to ignore what I'm talking about today. There's no wink, but if I were you, you'll be very mad at yourself if you don't listen to me. Okay, so now, after we do this, I always told you to graph these problems, correct? So I'm going to graph the point 6. 0. Am I opening up or am I opening down? I'm opening up. Does this then cross the x-axis? At what point? Oh, so you're telling me I already have my x-intercept? Yes, there are intercepts, and there's one of them, and it's 6, 0, and this is what we call a double root. So the multiplicity of this is multiplicity what? 2. Do we all understand that?
Yeah.
How do I know that algebraically? Well, I know that algebraically because it's squared. How do I know that graphically? Because it's touching the axis at one spot and it does not cross through the axis, but rather touches it and shoots back up to where the direction it came from. Yes, because I want your brain. I just did. Are we ready? Are you listening? Algebraically, I know it's a double root because I have exactly the same parenthesis twice. Yes? It would be a triple root because they would have all 3 the same parenthesis. If I had 4 of the same parenthesis, it would be a fourth. I'd have a 4th root, quadruple root. Yes, that usually doesn't happen. Do we understand that? Okay? Graphically, it's a double root because I'm not going from quadrant to quadrant through the axis. I am touching the axis and going back up. Does that make sense? Any other questions about this problem here? Why is this problem easy? Because I could factor and I didn't have to complete the square. However, if I go to this problem right here, can I factor this? Wow, that got ugly fast, didn't it? Okay, so how do I complete the square on this? Make f of x 0. Subtract 14. Now what? No, we can't multiply by 3 because you're trying to eliminate the compressed factor of 2/3. I don't want you to eliminate it. I want you to do what Devin said, which was what? Factor out the 2/3. And when you factor out, what operation are you doing in your head mentally? Division. So this is going to give you an x squared plus. Now, all this means is you're taking 8 and dividing it by 2/3. So that's 8 times 3/2, which is 24/2, which is 12. Do we all understand what I just did? I took 8 and divided it by 2/3, which is my compressed factor there, yes? Now what do I do next? I'm going to do my sidebar. So my sidebar is going to come through by taking my b value. What is b? 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Squaring that, and that's 36. So where am I going to add the 36 at? I'm going to add it inside the parentheses. So that means what I'm actually adding is going to be 2/3 times 36. Do we all understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay. So 36 divided by 3 gives me a 12, times 2 gives me a 24. Take away 14 gives me a 10. Does everybody see where that just came from? 36 divided by 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 take away 14 is 10. Okay? I keep the 2/3, and that's going to give me an x plus 6 squared. My goal is standard form, so I subtract the 10 over. And this is standard form. I need my vertex. What is my vertex? -6, -10. So I'm going to make a quick sketch of this. And -6, -10 is here. And am I opening up or down? I'm opening up, which means what's happening? Do I have x-intercepts? Yes, I do. There are 2 of them. You can physically see them. So I'm going to come back up to this step right here. So 10 is equal to 2/3 parenthesis x plus 6 squared. Mitchell, what do I do now if I'm trying to find an x-intercept? Multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 2/3, because I'm going to do it in 1 step. You're going to do it 2 if you would still get the same answer. Multiply by 3 over 2. 3 times 10 is 30, divided by 2 is 15. The 2/3 and the 3/2 cancel out to give you an x plus 6 squared. Yes? Take the square root of both sides. So I have to add the plus or minus in front of that, and that is equal to an x plus a 6. Now what? I'm sorry? Subtract 6 from both sides. So if I subtract 6, I am going to have -6 plus or minus the square root of 15 is equal to x. So what are my physical x-intercepts in ordered pair format? And very good. Do we understand that problem, yes or no? You're dazing on me. You didn't get that down. Okay. Okay, go. This one, what should we do? There is no y. Thank you, very good. So 0 is equal to -5x squared minus 40x minus 88. Yep. 88 is equal to -5x squared minus 40x. How do I get rid of the 5? Factor it out. So I'm pulling out a -5, so that makes that an x squared plus an 8x. Yes? Sidebar that. You guys are doing a great job today. So that's b divided by 2. That's 8 divided by 2, which is a 4. Squared is a 16. So where do I add that 16 at? 88 equals -5 parenthesis x squared plus 8x plus 16, which means what I'm adding is going to be -5 times 16. What do I know -5 times 16 to be? -80 plus 88 gives me an 8. -5 parenthesis x plus 4 squared. Truly, you guys are doing phenomenal. Super proud of you today. What do I do next? 0 equals -5 parenthesis x plus 4 squared minus 8. This is standard form. So I want my vertex. Okay, so if I make a quick sketch, here's -4, -8. It opens down, so there are no x-intercepts. So my x-intercepts, I simply am going to write none. Aren't you guys glad I told you to graph it, a quick sketch, before you did anything else? It really does help a lot, doesn't it? Because then you're able to visualize that it never is going to cross those x-axis, so whenever you do it algebraically, you would have got the square root of a negative number, which puts you in the imaginary number system, right? Do we all understand that, yes or no? Yes, there will be a good chunk of room. However, if you feel like you would rather do it on a separate sheet of paper and then put your answers on the test, I'm totally fine with that. Okay? Okay, well, what about this problem? I want you to give me the standard form of the quadratic that has a vertex of 8, -6 going through the ordered pair 2, 3. How do you go about that? Well, what is my standard form equation? Y equals. Okay, what do I know the vertex to be? HK. This is H, this is K. What do I know 2, 3 to be? X and Y. So Y is 3. A I don't know. X is going to be positive 2. H is -8 squared. K is going to be -6. Does everybody understand what I just did there? Okay. So this is going to be 3 is equal to 2 minus 8 is going to be -6 squared is 36a plus -6. What do I do now? Add the 6 over. 9 is equal to 36a. Divide by 36. 9 over 36 reduced down to what? 1/4 is equal to A. So am I done? What do I want? Gotta put that back in. So Y stays, A is 1/4, X stays, H is going to be 8 squared, and K is -6. There's an example of the equation in standard form going through the vertex 8, -6, and through the point 2, 3. Do we understand that? You ready to do that on the test tomorrow? All right, fun times here. I'm giving you the answers: 0, -3, and 4. Are you good? Do you need help? Okay. Because that's just the vertex. That's what they decided to call it in the formula. They couldn't do X and Y, so they had to come up with a different variable for it, different letters for it. So they just chose H and K. It's kind of the same thing that they do for the center of a circle as well, H and K. Okay. All right. So I have 0, -3, and 4. So what do, Blaze? X equals 0, X equals -3, and X equals 4. Yes? So now what? I'm going to bring them on the same side as the variable now. 0 doesn't change anything. X plus 3 is equal to 0, and X minus 4 is equal to 0. Yes? Multiply them all together. X times X plus 3 times X minus 4 is equal to 0. Now what? Are you good? You sure? Okay. Now what? Sure. So X times an X squared plus a 3X minus a 4X plus, or nope, sorry, minus a 12 is equal to 0. I'm going to combine like terms first before I distribute the X, which just makes mathematical sense. So this is -X minus 12. And now go ahead and distribute. X cubed minus X squared minus 12X is equal to 0. Do we understand that? What about that one? start it for me. Do it on your own personal. Okay, if we start this just like we started the last one, bring over the 1, bring over the 1. Then, if you recall, when I taught this, I drew an arrow here and said, oh, they're the same. So I can put plus or minus the square root of 2 here. Remember that? Yeah. Come on. Very good. You square both sides to get rid of the square root. So x minus 1 times x minus 1 is equal to 2. There is a repeated root at 1, but that's not what it's asking for. It wants the polynomial. But I love that you're thinking that, but it's not absolutely true because guess what? It has the minus 2. Okay, so it's not a root. So now if I FOIL this, I get an x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 2. Now what? Subtract the 2. Done. It will be on the test tomorrow. You need to make sure that you know how to do your rational ones. I promise you it's on the test. So is anybody confused or need more clarification? Gavin, are you good? Okay. All I did is I brought the 1 back over to give you this. I recognize that those were the same on the left-hand side. So I wrote that as 1, and whenever I say I wrote that as 1, it's x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2. So this is a positive, that's a minus, that's where I get the plus or minus. To get rid of a plus or minus the square root, I squared both sides. That cancels out the plus and minus as well as the power and the root to just give me a 2 on the right-hand side, and I wrote that down twice. See how I wrote this down twice? Yeah. Then I FOILed that, combined like terms. Are you good? Yeah. Okay, the last thing you need to know, determine the zeros of the following functions algebraically and the multiplicity. What does multiplicity mean? Is it a double root? Is it a triple root? Is it a quadruple root? What is it? Okay? But I want you to do that algebraically. So we need to find the zeros of this thing. So how do I go about that? 0 is equal to 4x cubed minus 20x squared plus 25x. What do I do? I need to pull out a GCF of an x. So I'm left with 4x squared minus a 20x plus a 25. Yes. Because the 4 does not go into 25. Do we all understand that? Okay, so now, this is a dead giveaway. Multiplicity is a dead giveaway, especially when used with the algebraic word. Okay? Multiplicity means that there's going to be a set of parentheses that are exactly the same, right? So if I have this trinomial inside here, and I want to factor into 2 binomials, you know what that means? Chances are I'm going to have 2 binomials that are exactly the same. So how do I break down 4x squared? 2x and 2x. How do I break down 25? 5 and 5. And I need to have a positive 25, so that means my signs are plus, plus, or minus, minus. How do I know which one? The middle sign. Guess what? Do I have 2 binomials that are exactly the same? So what's the multiplicity automatically going to be of that? 0. A double root. So this means I have 0 is equal to x. 2x minus 5 is equal to 0 twice. So 2x is equal to 5. So x is equal to 5 over 2 times. This is indeed a double root. So the multiplicity is 2 on that 5 over 2. What does that mean graphically to me? Graphically, guess what? My function is supposed to look like x cubed, right? However, if I were to graph this thing, it has to touch 0 and it has to touch 5/2. Do we understand that? It has to go and rise here. But 5/2 is a double root, so I have to come back down this direction. I just have no idea how high up that maximum is going to be without actually doing a graph of it. Do we all understand? I'm plugging and chugging values in. So this thing is going to look similar to that. So when in doubt, graph it out to see exactly how high that maximum is going to be. Do we get that? Yes or no? Okay. That is the test. The test is tomorrow. Now listen up. Hold on. I will not be here tomorrow. I have meetings. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I don't know. So with that being said, the very first thing they're going to do is they're going to ask you to put any and all homework into the bin. Do that when you come in. Secondly, sit separate tables with a seat between you. Do that when you come in. So, Gavin, scoot on down. Devin, move along. If Logan's here, have Logan move. Okay? Oh, I did not know that. Oh, wow. Yeah, don't make him move, Brand's move. Okay, well, in a moment. Okay, now, then, part A test, no calculator. You will do part A test tomorrow. It'll be matching. When you are done with it, you'll put it in the top tray. You will get part B test, go grab your calculator and do part B. On Thursday, whenever I get back, you will finish part B test, yes? Any questions? Well, I just want to make sure you have enough time to finish it. I don't want anybody to rush through and make silly mistakes. So if I need to give you another 20 minutes in class on Thursday to make sure you have no mistakes, I'm willing to do that without any problems. Do we all understand that? Okay. So test is tomorrow.